Hi there guys, and welcome to another FPV guide video. I'm Bo Lorentzen, the FPV guy, and today we're going to be taking a look at another Kickstarter, or rather Indiegogo product that has become a real product. What we're looking at here is of course the Ghost Drone 2.0. 2.0, as you can see down here. So this is the revised version of the original Indiegogo product. And let's take a quick look at the box here. And the version we have here is called VR. You can see that right here, VR 2.0. And what that means is you have goggle control of the gimbal. Let's turn this around and take a look at what's included here. We have prop guards, we have the aircraft, and we have the controlling goggles. So that is cool. And here on the other side, we also see the aircraft and the goggles right here. So let's crack this out open. Oh, I should show you the last panel. Here is the last panel on this thing. And that really indicates one of the big things with this product, namely that this does not have a controller. We are all used to flying with a controller up in our hand, sticks to move, and this one doesn't have that. It is straight controlled by a smartphone. And I'm gonna come back to my opinions about that, but I want to say we have all been wanting smartphone controlled multi-rotors for years. So having a smartphone controlled drone is something we have been wanting. And it actually is working very good. And once you get past the lack of sticks, this may be a very workable concept. Let's take a look at what's inside. Let's see if I can turn this. Where is the opening anyway? Ah, here. There's a couple of these things to pull out. And this comes up this way here. So I don't know if you can see that. Now looking into this, all I'm really seeing is a big thing of black stuff. So let's pop that out of here. And that comes over there. Inside the box, if you look around in here, up here you'll find the goggles. Over here we have some accessories, and over on the other side is more accessories right there. Let me dig into the little envelope if you can see that. One of the things about this kit is it's put together very nicely. Right up here on the top we have a kind of cool, and right here is a cool little multi-rotor that kind of turns around and moves a little bit. Turning it open inside, you will see here, I don't know if I can, so there's a nice little illustration here and a thank you for buying this product. I like that. Moving on real quickly, here is the Ghost Drone 2.0 Quick Start Guide and a full manual right here that's gonna give you all the information you need to know. Of course, also do go on the internet and take a look at their very nicely made information videos. In addition to that, there's a couple of general disclaimers, what is in the box, and warranty information. Now, the one thing that's not in this box that we see in a lot of boxes was the knowbeforeyoufly.org flyer. So even though it's not in the box, this is more than 250 grams, so make sure you register, and also make sure you go to knowbeforeyoufly.org to learn more about where and when and how you can fly legally in the US. Alrighty then, let's crack this stuff out of here. Up on top here, let's just take the drone first. Here comes the drone, and turning it around, you can see down here is the 4K camera, and on front there is a filter holder right here. In the back we have a 5.8 video downlink, and also on front is the smart battery with an information panel here. You push and hold to start the battery and the aircraft. Let's put that down and get the rest of the stuff out of here. Way over here you find this really big box here saying eHang on it. And this is actually the propeller guards. You can see them right here on the illustration. So that is the guards that keeps your fingers out of the propellers. If you're new to flying, I highly recommend installing the propeller guards. And honestly, the eHang Ghost 2.0 is one of the few products on the market that comes with propeller guides. That's really a cool thing. Let's put that down and move on. Next on this side here, we have some little kind of long skinny boxes. These are propellers. I think you can easily see what it says right there. So that is the propeller case. Let's pull those out. And it's kind of cool. This comes with 2 sets of propellers. I like that because, as you know, I'm always saying you can never have too many propellers. All right, up here we have the goggles, VR goggles. And in the same space, we have the toolkit right here. This is really kind of cool. The Ghost drone actually comes with a very cool little felt toolkit holder. Look at that. Up here we have spare little screws, and down here is a set of spare dampers for the gimbal. In addition, there's an Allen wrench, and there is a prop release tool. This will allow you to grip the ribs of the motor in case you manage to crash or somehow get the propeller locked onto the motor really hard. Next to that, you find the charging cable right here. That is a very standard cable. We all have a ton of them. And as you know, I have been using just these things. I completely do away with the cables, and I just hang the charger from the wall with one of these little things here. But that's just how I do it. Then finally, we have a USB cable, a mini USB cable right here on the end. So let's just lock that up, and it has like a little strap here that comes around like that. And you tug it underneath itself, kind of like that, and it is ready to go. So that is the toolkit. Just one thing left right here, and that is the charger. I'm gonna show you that in a second. Let me just get rid of this box. Now I gotta tell you, the eHang Ghost 2.0 charger is probably one of my favorite chargers in terms of how it's designed and how it's implemented. Let me show you real quickly. Of course, we have this cable that's included, and that just goes up on the end right up here. And you have the cable, you can plug it in. As you already know, I like to keep it a little simpler, and what I do is I just plug one of these things in. Now on the other end, and this is what's so cool, look at this little sliding door here. That just opens up, and it literally, you should dock or you slide on the Ghost drone battery directly onto the charger, like that. And now it's ready to charge. There's really nothing more to it. That means they got rid of all the cables from the charger to the battery. So this is it. You just plug that in and you are ready to charge. Now if we take another look at the battery right here, you can see how it's made to function. Right here you have the squeeze together locks that keeps it in place. And if we turn it over and push the button right here, we get the information telling us we have about 80% of power left. So that turns off by itself. If you want it on, you just push and hold down. And now the battery has turned on. You can see the green light. To turn this back off, what you really do is just push and hold down again, and you just wait for the thing to disappear, and now the battery is turned back off. So it is a very simple to operate. It's a standard process, of course, but I do like it gives me a power in percentage on the smart battery. The battery here is a 4500 milliamp 4S battery. So it's a fairly decent battery, but it's a small and fairly light compared to the batteries we are starting to see in the prosumer drone category now. Moving on from the battery here, let's get it back into the drone. And before I do that, let me just prop up the drone here. I think this will do. There, now you all can see. And I guess before anybody asks, this is a Nanook 920 case. Nanook cases are one of my favorite cases, so I have a ton of different sizes of those handy. Here's where the battery goes in, and here's one of the things that's really unusual about this drone, that the battery goes in the front. So it comes in right here, now the battery's in. Down here you can see the ball camera, and let's get some propellers put on this real quickly. The propellers come in a really cool little case, and I like that because propellers are really sensitive. You don't want something to be laying on the prop blade, as that will bend the prop. And you won't really notice it because it will fly, but if one of the blades are bent, you know, like if you stick the hand out of the window of the car and you do like this, when you turn your hand, you get more drag. You can feel it on your hand. And the same thing with the propeller. If the propeller is bent, it will cause vibrations in all of the aircraft, which will become yellow in your video. So always be very careful with your propellers. Let's get these things out and take a look at them. I'm done with this one. First time I saw these up at CES, I immediately was going, why don't these have self-tightening screws? It turns out I'm the idiot, because look at the little hole right here. These are in fact self-tightening. All you have to do is tighten them right onto here. Now, since the motors are upside down on this aircraft, let's just turn this over and you can see how they go on. Oh, can you see right there? Here's the motor. Here, let me hold that up. So this motor has a white center and this motor has a black center. And here is the matching propellers. We have a black cone and a white cone. So we're gonna grab the white cone and twist it down onto the white center prop motor and a black one on the black, like that, another white one. And you can actually see very easily on the propeller, it shows a lock and an arrow, and it shows unlock and an arrow. So that's the direction you want to use it to lock and unlock. Now, right now, what we're doing is turning it clockwise to lock. There we go. And the last one comes on right here and it's down. I like that they fit really easy. Now, it is a little gimmicky that they have turned the motors upside down. However, it's not as gimmicky as one might think, because there's two categories of air here. The air on top that's being drawn in by the propeller is what's called low pressure. Underneath the propeller that has been really pushed by the propeller, or the turbine blade, which is here the propeller, is the high pressure air. So the low pressure air gets around the arm easier. So in fact, it does actually give you better efficiency to move the prop below. And also they have put quite a lot, there's a couple of fingers of space here. So below you have the air that pushes at a higher speed. And that of course means that you have less stuff braking the high-speed air, instead of having the propeller sitting on top and having the high-speed air trying to push around the arm of the aircraft. So there is a benefit to it. Now, if it's worth operating with the propeller being turned upside down, I can't say for sure, but it does in fact give this maybe 5% more energy when it flies, or that what it means is more like, instead of getting 10 minutes, you might get 10.5 or 11 minutes of flight time out of this aircraft. Of course, this is not a 10 minutes, and it is more like 15-minute-ish flying time. So this is what the aircraft looks like when it's ready to fly. Before I start turning anything on, I am gonna remove the propellers as usual. There we go, guys. All the propellers has been removed. And as you know, I remove these things because I don't want to sit here and turn this on and have big spinning propellers right next to my face. Spinning propellers on multirotors can cut you seriously, so never sit here and play with something with propellers. Only put propellers on when you're actually going to fly and you're operating it at a safe distance. Don't get hurt having fun. Then the next big cool thing about this particular kit is the goggles. So let's get the goggles out of here. They come in a real nice little case, and inside here you can see the goggles. And by the way the goggles charge is by using the USB port right here. You plug it into any USB power source, or you plug it into the battery charger which has a USB port on the side. Now if I turn this around so you can see, up on top here you're gonna see that there is a 2.4 and a 5.8 antenna mount. So before you do anything else, you want to grab the two antennas in the box and you want to put the 5.8 to the 5.8. That's obviously the video receiver. And on the other side here is your 2.4. And there we go. So now we have the 5.8 installed and the 2.4. Up on top here we have the operating buttons for the goggles. One of the cool things right on front here is a little camera so that you can push a button here, and by pushing that you can now look out and see what's going on around you. Then you can push the button again and now you can see what video you're getting from the aircraft. So let's see how this actually works in reality. These are a little bit different design than the goggles I'm used to. Let me give this a try. Off with the glasses and on with the goggles. These are a pretty good fit. They're a little bit wide, so basically they're hitting my forehead, but they're not uncomfortable by any means. So I could easily be using these for the time you fly, and probably even longer than that. There is some Velcro straps right here, it looks like, to adjust the length of this. And let's find out how this all works together. Now the kit we're looking at right here is the Ghost Drone 2.0 VR kit with the 4K camera and the VR goggles. The VR goggles in this kit manages the camera. However, the goggles serve a much more important feature because they are also a Wi-Fi hotspot. And that is how your smartphone control the Ghost Drone. You don't actually connect your smartphone to the Ghost Drone. Instead, you connect it to the goggles. And if you don't buy the goggle kit, you connect it to a puck. I call it a hockey puck. That basically is the link. And this is really smart because instead of your phone being connected out to this aircraft, which would limit how far you can fly, you're connecting to this system that then proceeds to give you about 1,000 meters, or about 3,000 feet of range. So that gets you tons of range for a consumer drone using a smartphone, and them making a link close to you is really the smart move here. So let's turn this on, and in order to see what goes on in the goggles, we're of course gonna grab the Brad. And here he comes. And right now the Brad is posing and showing my Dominators version 2. We're gonna take those off and instead put these goggles on him. I can tell you right now, the Brad has a small head, so we're just gonna shorten everything up a little bit before we get going. On the Brad, you can see the camera right here, and we are going to be seeing what Brad sees in the goggle like this. So let's start up. Here's the power button, so let's push that, hold it down. And I think we're turned on. Now the one thing we did notice, of course, is I had to arrange the goggles quite a lot to get a picture easily, meaning that it's a fairly narrow optical channel, so you definitely need to adjust them before you start flying. So the next thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna get into the settings on my phone. So we're gonna click here, and then when it comes down here and we see eHang, and I've already logged into that before, so now we have connected to the eHang network. The last thing we have to do now is let's go ahead and turn on the aircraft. There, you saw the gimbal coming alive, and let's go open the software. So down here, we see the eHang logo right here, and I'm just gonna tap on that, and you'll see the big eHang. Now it comes up. Here is the aircraft, and it wants me to calibrate the phone.
Compass on your mobile phone is calibrated.
Compass is calibrated. And now it says drone firmware is too old. Please update before flying. We're not going to start flying right now, so I'm just going to say cancel. And we are going to take, there's two ways you can fly. The one is called Avatar, which allows you to move the phone. The other version is touch and go. We're going to just select. Now, so I was trying to update, and here's the bottom line. I was not able to go into the drone app and start getting closer to the system until I updated. So right now, it's actually downloading and updating the drone. The next step here is it says upload firmware to plane. Now while we're sitting here updating, let me just demonstrate the view switch. By pushing the view button on top of the Brad's goggles, I'm holding it down, and now we're actually looking around in here, and so the Brad can see what's around here. And pushing it one more time, and with that, now the Brad is looking out of the gimbal camera instead. Hear the beeping? We are now at the green light, and we have finally managed to update the firmware. It says successful, and we're now restarting the drone. Alrighty then. Now that we have updated per the demands the firmware, it comes in here to it goes directly to my profile. Up here it says FPV guy. For some reason it doesn't list how many kilometers I have flown or anything. I would have thought it would have updated my flights. I don't know why. But I do know that usually the things I get to play with are better software, so we won't hold that against it. Now, it does say it has a fresh gimbal firmware. Also, I'm not gonna get into that right now. Now, in my profile page here, it shows my album of stills, and over here it says fly. So we're gonna do the touch and go and click on that.
Flight status updated. Please make sure the battery life is more than 70% before your first flight.
There you have it. Now, I am turned on with LTE data on the phone right now, and you can see the picture right here. We're actually now getting a photographic map of where we are located. The other thing we can see, if you take a look at the Brad's goggle, now you're looking out of the goggle, and let's see if not the Brad is controlling the gimbal. Now see this? When I'm moving the Brad's head, the gimbal is tilting up and down. So that's exactly how it is supposed to work. So you can basically get this on your head and start flying. Now,
place the drone in an open space with its nose pointing away from you. Please keep a 5-meter distance from the drone. Please do not fly indoor.
So unlike some smaller drones, I should probably not try to fly this indoor. And as I click the check mark, it is now proceeding through trying to get satellites. It's not going to get adequate satellites to fly safely in here, so we're not going to try that. But this is pretty much how this system works. It's a very simple, very safe system that's going to walk you through flying this safely. And the interesting thing, of course, being that they don't have a controller. They have really made this app to guide you through the flying experience, and that I find very interesting. Now, having said that, the other interesting thing is this camera is much better than I expected it to be. I did a little bit of flying in the mountains, and here you can see just a little bit of the view I shot, and this was just basically putting it up and just kind of letting it record. It shoots 4K at better quality than I anticipated, so I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with that. Now, once this goes through and finds its satellite, you'll be able to, you get a little thing down the corner here you can put your finger on, and you can basically, on the one side, you can set the height you want to be flying, and then by moving around the little toggle on the screen, you can fly right, left, forward, backwards. It's not a traditional stick flying, it's more oriented towards where you are. And you also can do, because this is born as a map essentially, it's a coordinate flyer. So this has waypoint flying built into it from day one, and it also have setting up a path you want to fly. Now we're obviously not going to find enough satellites in here to actually proceed, so I am going to have to take this out and just turn the camera on and kind of talk you guys through a flight with this. It's surprisingly easy to fly. One thing I can tell you right now from my very first flight experience, don't try to hand catch this, as the propellers are facing down and it's a scary experience. You've got to learn to land this correctly. Just land it, don't try to catch it. That's just one thing to keep in mind with this particular aircraft. Now, it have all the features we expect. You can see how the camera is dampened here, and it has pitch dampening. And of course, if the Brad helps me here, the camera goes up and down. So that's what we wanted to do. You can start and stop recordings from your smartphone. And on the back here, we have the 5.8 video downlink, which is getting quite warm. Make sure you never turn this aircraft on without installing this antenna. It's already installed when it comes out of the box, so never turn it on without an antenna, as that will damage the video downlink. So as we're wrapping this up here, the big question of course becomes, who is this for? And I can say right now, this is for people who want to be able to fly incredibly easily and surprisingly safe using a smartphone. It's not for people who want to fly sticks and have a ton of control over this aircraft, because basically you put it up to a height. Once it is at that height, then you tap the screen to fly it around at that height. It's not that easy to do a coming forward, coming down, banking left and coming back up kind of move. So a very advanced flying move that you need sticks for. But that's not really a problem, because a typical video shot, say for instance for a real estate video shot, you just basically put the aircraft up at the height and distance you want, and then you make it just kind of go in a soft circle around what you want to get a real nice beauty shot of the house you're trying to get. And the same thing for most video shots. You want a long stable push or a long stable climb. Those things this machine can do all day long very easily and at quite high quality. And it's worth noticing also, this is the bigger brother with the goggle setup, but the smaller brother, which is significantly less expensive, actually flies a GoPro. So if you already have a GoPro and you just want to be able to fly the GoPro using your smartphone, this may very well be the ticket for you. With that said, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna give the Brad a break, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna just put it in the back of the car, turn on the camera again, and I'm just literally gonna fly from my iPhone and just kind of talk all of us through the experience so you can see how that works. So please stay tuned for that flight video. I've actually got a couple of flight videos I owe you guys right now. So stay tuned for all of those, and I'm going to try to get them all done and get them posted up. Make sure you subscribe for videos, and also check out my Instagram, instagram.com/fpvguy. Thank you very much, and stay tuned for this. And for more information on the Ghost drone, go and check out my blog, also fpvguy.com.